Hello dear friends, this is a video about eclipses and lunar nodes on Taurus Scorpio axis. Eclipses on this axis will start happening in November 2021 and will last until October 2023. Related to this phenomenon are the transits of lunar nodes, which Indian tradition refers to as Rahu, this is the north node, and Ketu, which is the south node. From January 4th, 2021 until July 17, 2023, lunar nodes will be transiting on this axis. So as you see, eclipses will have a longer effect. Like the first eclipse is happening now in November 2021 when I'm recording this, and will last until the end of 2023, but nodes will be on this axis a little bit shorter period of time. So in this video I will talk about this transit in general, how it will influence us on mundane level, and how we will feel it as a collective. And I will not speak about each zodiac sign, about personal horoscopes. I have video lessons for this transit for each zodiac sign, but not in English. And if you would like to know, to learn more about that, how this transit will influence you, please order personal consultations with me. So within personal consultations, we can specially discuss this transit. Why eclipses are so important, I explained in one of my older video, so you may wish to see it. The name of it is Astrology, Eclipses, and Our Spiritual Path. I believe you can still find it on YouTube. So what is here important to understand is that we are moving from Scorpio toward Taurus. This is the key thing here now with this transit. While Ketu is in Scorpio, it is ruled by Pluto. And Pluto, sorry, just 1 minute, I need to do something here. So, yeah, it's okay now. This ruler is Pluto, Ketu's ruler is Pluto, and Pluto travels on the last degrees of Capricorn and symbolizes spasm, fall, and fear of the obsessive old structures that ruled the world for a long time. And now they're obsessed with that to stay there where they are, to rule the world, but in a different way. And Scorpio is a fixed sign. It sticks to old forms, cannot accept loss, even though it is a sign of death and recovery. So here we are going to follow a scenario that talks about the struggle for the preservation that is impossible to preserve. Ketu here will also talk about the losses, and we will all experience some sort of losses in some way in the next year and a half, a little bit less than 2 years, for example. On the other side, the ruler of Rahu is Venus, which is in the sign of Taurus. And as the sign of Taurus, also Venus, show us that we need in this period of time to rely on ourselves, on our own personal resources. We need to take care without fear of our personal health and health of others, especially of those close ones. You know, it is always like that. First take care of yourself, then of your children, your family, then you can help the others. This is the best way how people function. You know, like in the airplane, you first put the mask to yourself, then to the kid. This is very good to know. There is always a way for everything. Yes, we are going to tremendous changes, but change is a normal thing. Maybe this is too big change. Okay, I understand. But we should definitely not worry too much, because there is always a way. In each time there is a way to survive. So here Rahu announces a permanent actually turn towards personal resources And that is why I have been proposing to many people for a long time already to buy a land or some house, even very small house, and a piece of land in order to be self-sufficient. Greenhouses are also very desirable in our time. You may guess why, of course, because of those rains cannot injure that what you grow if you have it inside of the greenhouse. And those rains are very dangerous. I guess you know what I mean. As long as people are depending on the system will be able to condition them, like it is happening already now. If you do not accept this or something else, then you will lose your job, and so on. Further, Rahu in Taurus can be useful for people to reconsider not only their financial situation, but also to think about what they know to do, and is there something else, like some talent? Do they have some ability which they still did not discover? And they can discover it now, perhaps, and that it can be very useful in this concrete situation, especially for those who lose income or who decide to go out of the system. Already many people are looking for the ways to survive outside of the system, and surely that will be a big topic in the next 2 years. So I explain in many of my seminars, which are unfortunately not in English, that the sign of Taurus is actually the sign of talents and different abilities. And I often saw people who are under pressure discovering their talents. You know, they did something before, they had crises, and then suddenly some crises appear and they could not survive, and then suddenly they discover they're very good in one job, or they can create something or things like that, and then start doing it. So this is the time for all of us to think of that. What is that we can do in order to survive and to be independent? The Taurus-Scorpio axis also signifies personal and other people resources. So Taurus are personal resources and Scorpio other people resources. And not just material one. Taurus symbolizes our energy, Scorpio other people's energy, partner energy, or definitely other people in general. Through this axis, we come into the world, in this physically molecular world, and we also disappear physically through this axis, because Scorpio is the sign of sexuality and death. Because this axis is also the axis of enjoyment and attraction, without which sexual union between man and woman could not be possible. So this is also the axis of sexuality. So on the other hand, Scorpio is the sign of death, because when the sun is in Scorpio, the nature dies, and of course only to create fertile ground for the new birth that will come in spring. But still, many Scorpio people are quite afraid of that, you know, even if this is the subject of their sign. Scorpio is also a sign of reincarnation, rebirth, renewal, and self-renewing. And man is also self-renewing himself in a way that man can create another man. So this is going to be the subject in the next years to come. And I see you are guessing that it is about, unfortunately, this genetical modification, because genetically modified food does not have seeds and cannot reproduce. This is becoming a big subject because in the year 2020 and 2021, it is possible that they started to sterilize people in a big way. I guess you know what I mean. I mean about this, but I'm not using this word, which is very tragic, and maybe we can see some consequences in the 2021 and 2023. It is also possible that now they are carrying out some kind of genetic modification of a man and nature with very unclear consequences, You know, it is this rains and everything that is falling down now. I'm not saying this powder that is coming from the plains. I'm not using those words. And there definitely can be these nanoparticles full of something that can in some way modify the nature. At least that's what they are trying to do. And we will definitely see some results in next 2 years. Sexuality has certainly been a focus in Western society, at least in the last 50 or even more 20 or 30 years. And it is somehow be the subject also. It is well known that many spiritual practices are developing its knowledge in that way that they refuse sexuality. And Venus is, for example, the enemy of Jupiter. They are not friends. So it means if people are thinking too much of pleasure, they cannot gain higher knowledge or spiritual knowledge. And definitely sexuality until now was using for that to stop this spiritual growth. But here, when I speak about sexuality, I'm not speaking about emotions and empathy. This is something a little different. And we will also learn a lot about sensitivity and empathy and love for the other person. And we will need to learn how to separate that from sexuality. I'm not criticizing sexuality, it's a normal thing. Just I'm saying about that how it was misused and that we are going to learn something new. In many videos, we have said many times that this is a war. You know, there is not only one type of a war where they fight in the field with some guns. This is also a war that we are going through, unfortunately. And in the year 2020 and 21, it was more like an information war. And now in 22, 23, we will feel more that this is chemically biological war. Even, of course, if that this is somehow interconnected. But it is so, astrologically speaking. Taurus Scorpio axis talks about biological world. Some other elements of horoscope also talks about biology, but now we are speaking about this. So now the question arises whether this biological world of us we live in, we need anymore or not, because there are so many people who are obsessed with digital world and artificial intelligence. And of course, biological world is one of the biggest value that we have as a human being. And we will have to understand something very important about this in the year 2022 and 23. Perhaps because we will be forced to understand that. Maybe those decadent, powerful people who create all of this chaos in the world, they don't need nature and biological life on Earth. Maybe that means nothing to them. They don't maybe understand why we should give birth, why nature should flourish and die after that. But for us, normal human beings, this biological life means everything, and we really need to reconsider what is happening in the world. It's going to happen in the next 2 years. So many of you know that after this disease that happened in 2020 and later, they announced hunger and the lack of energy. I guess you heard about that. And also maybe lack of some raw materials and something like that. So this is of course part of the program, and let's hope it won't be realized, because it's completely absurd that in this planet, which is the planet of abundance, even now when this biological war is going on, it is absurd to talk about that somebody is hungry. We do not need to be hungry. Why would that be the lack of energy or gas or anything if we live in the land of abundance? So definitely have to be, because somebody has taken everything for him, and because this is part of the program, and this program can be easily implemented if people continue to trust all of this, what is happening, and if people don't go to protest openly by refusing completely everything that is served to them through medias and other ways. There will be a lot of more talk here in the next years about ecology, healthy environment, so-called green passports, green energy, green political parties. Someone would say, well, great, this is fantastic. Green and red are the colors of the axis of Scorpio, Taurus axis. But this is not a wonderful thing, although these topics should definitely be crucial for us. So why is that not wonderful? Because we live in perverted world in which everything they present in public to us is a lie, or to say is directly opposite to the truth. We said that the old governing structures are mostly symbolized by Pluto in Capricorn, and Pluto will remain in Capricorn until 2025, and until then, actually, this battle is going on. So, when in perverted world, someone says that green energy is cheap, it means that they want you to pay more. And when they say that they want to protect nature, it means that they are going to destroy nature. When they say that it is something that they offer the energy of the future, it means that they want to prevent people of using free energy, and so on and so on. What to say about these so-called green passports? You know, some that they want to have, you know, that you prove when you enter in the restaurant or wherever that you are. I'm not using those words. Well, this could mean that now some totalitarian system is coming, and it can be potentially worse than any other totalitarian system that people experienced. And of course, all of this is this part of transhumanist agenda. They are doing that. I talk about that in my videos, Aquarius and its shadow, and also in my video, Technocracy. So please check those videos if you want to see what are these transhumanists now preparing. We need to know what is going on in order to escape the program. Robbery and thief, of course, of resources, of gold, of minerals, water, everything that is going on for many years already. Everything is actually already taken or stolen from people. But it can even be greater, this problem of robbery, in these next 2 years, or at least in these next 2 years with Scorpio Taurus axis, we will see that everything is stolen from us or something like that. I personally saw how that looks like because I travel in the countries of former Yugoslavia this summer. And I show how that looks like. It looks like most probably like in Middle East, Asia and Africa. They just make holes in the ground. They dig and excavate whatever they need. And then there are roads that are made only to go from those mines or those springs that they're using to the main road. And all area around is completely destroyed. Houses are falling down. There are no people. Villages are empty, and so on. So these are doing these companies like Rio Tinto or some horrible Chinese companies and others. You know, they're just digging and digging and digging and taking everything. It sounds really completely abnormal. So I even saw it with my eyes how it looks like. So let's remember what happened in the previous year and a half with Ketu in Sagittarius and Rahu in Gemini. Science has been abused as well as knowledge at universities. So all of this has abused for political purposes, and especially medical science has been totally degraded, if we can say that in English. During the years 20 and 21, it became clear that Western corporations control science and medicine. They control it maybe completely, And when I'm saying this, I'm not against science, I'm not against medicine, I'm just saying in which situation they are now. This is their situation. And that could be almost clear to everybody, but I know that some people still do not understand. But they are completely exposed and even destroyed by that what was happening. All medicine is destroyed. No one will trust doctors anymore after this, when it comes into the light what really happened. Also, the Gemini-Sagittarius axis show that it is necessary to divide internet, because now some new communication is coming. Internet is going to be changed. We will have some new internet. And this separation of those who are in power should be also territorial. It is going together with territorial division. And this will actually happen when America finishes to be the world's leading hegemon. And part of this sharing of the world, it's also 5G antennas, which of course have different functions, and that's where whenever they are, somebody can use them, and they need to have an agreement which world power will use which of them and how. It is quite clear that they implemented new satellite technology in the year 20 and 21, and that we are entering a new cosmic era. You know, they have those satellites and they can do whatever they want now, from now on. They only need to do this with people, which will electromagnetize them. And they also have computers that are under the earth, and it is so. And now there is a power which does not want that. This is first of all Russia and other parts of the world, and now they need to divide the world and to see who is going to do what by using this modern technology. So while Ketu was in Sagittarius, also it was very fruitful time for spiritual and personal development. This is highly a regarded combination in Indian astrology because it gives great knowledge and great wisdom, and we really learned a lot. So now further, as we move to Scorpio-Taurus axis, we leave the Scorpio era, as we said, and that can be, of course, can have positive and negative impact, always. For example, Ketu in Scorpio can destroy, in a way, banks and previous old financial institutions, probably insurance companies and many corporations that dealt with capital control and who were doing similar things. So those who lived on other people's money are basically will have some loss in the next years. And now we have actually two roads. Two things can happen with this. In a way, this can be very positive because we will definitely move to a new way of exchanging goods and services. This is not just about one bank falling, or this is not just some devaluation of money or inflation somewhere or things like that. This is something much bigger, what is happening here. So we are slowly preparing to create a new form of economic organization in which there will be practically no money, as if we were having money in today's time. And we already have experiments with this. They gave us Facebook, YouTube, and all of those networks because they want us to learn something. So whenever on Facebook, when we give like to somebody, it means we gave that somebody a credit. And very similar things is happening in China, even if it looks different. In China, people have credits for their social loyalty. So this like that you give to somebody or this credit that they're getting in China, they are actually some sort of introduction of the new functioning in this in terms of energy exchange. I know that many people will be terribly afraid when they hear this, but please don't write to me totally scared. This can be used in a positive and in negative way, as we said. We have at least two possibilities of using the same model. One is for this system to be introduced by previous colonizers and sponsors of fascism, and thus to lead people into even greater slavery in accordance with the ideas of transhumanism. And the second possibility is to use such model, such system, that will allow a person to receive energy and to exchange energy, but without using money, and based on his decision and his engagement in the collective. I know that it sounds a little bit like science fiction, but it's not actually nothing especially new. Many people know about it. I did not invent it. I also understood it from that what I heard, from that what I see, how the world functions. So we'll see. I do not know whether the humanity will be able to implement something like that in these next years, but something we will learn about that. So through this axis, Scorpio Taurus axis, a person learns about the exchange of energy, and we will see what will happen with those who were making extremely huge money because of this disease in question. So those who were participating in their game in the last 2 years, it can be that they will stay without anything, not just those who are in business, but also representatives in governments and so on. Strange things are also happening because of money. Like people were doing terrible things. Like nurses in Britain were getting 10 pounds for each And, many people did those things without even knowing how terrible karma they can create for themselves, for their families, and for the whole world by doing that. It is something that you destroy other people's life because you want money. I'm not going to go deeper into this, but try to imagine what kind of karma is created here. And karma exists the same as a reincarnation. I will further add here that medicine is partly influenced by Scorpio and pharmacy even more. So can we expect that that medicine and pharmacy and their knowledge will go through some significant experiences next year? Of course. Furthermore, secret societies are also connected with the symbolism of Scorpio, and that means that somehow they will be exposed, or there is going to happen something important with them. Scorpio also represents the underworld in its various forms, so also it's possible that something important will come from there, will be destroyed there, will be transformed, and so on. Furthermore, Scorpio is the sign of obsessive control, and those ideas that they are implementing now, because they want to totally to control people and everything, this will actually fail in a way. We will see how. I know that many people are skeptic, but I'm not that. Interestingly, Scorpio is a sign of armed people, primary police, not the army. And we see also that in many parts of the world, especially in European Union, Australia, and maybe some other, army changes into police, which means that that army will not protect people, but the government, and the government is, of course, protecting a small group of psychopaths. However, this can change if we can trust astrology. We will see that policemen will, in the next year and a half, give up of their job. They will be on the right side. Of course, that there are people who are half robots, half people with changed consciousness, and they can also protect those who want to rule the world. There can be different scenarios, but if there are normal policemen, as I think that there are, most probably they will give up of that, beating people because they're protecting some psychopaths. Of course, I don't know exactly what is going to happen. I'm just saying many possibilities there are there. The symbolism is very rich, Don't think that all of those things that I mentioned have to happen, but this serves you to just have the impression about that, what this energy is about, and we will see. Now, Ketu in Scorpio also can expose topics that we already encounter, and those are self-destruction, destruction, addictions to drug, alcohol, addiction to this, perhaps. Can expose wrong way of healing, abuse of power, hiding the truth of about healing. It can bring some knowledge about the drugs and medications that they're using, and so on and so on. So the ruler of Ketu is Pluto. We mentioned Pluto many times. He signifies very specific diseases and secrets related to those diseases. And it can be that many of those secrets will reveal in the year and a half. This all will be a challenge for many doctors and pharmacists who will be forced in a way to leave their profession and to admit what is happening. I don't wish them that. Don't think that I have anything against those professions or something. No, not at all. But what is happening in the world is happening through those professions. So people who are involved in this have to speak out. Maybe you will remember that even in the year 2020, I think in April, I recorded a video named Conscience and Fear. And in that time I said that doctors, lawyers, IT experts, those who are important for the system, who hold the system, they have to give up and have to say what is happening because they know what is happening. And now it will not be that difficult for them to give up of their profession and to speak about that, because Rahu is in Taurus, and Rahu will open the question of pure values and real values. So many of those people who are involved in such professions will want to be ethical, and that's why they will give up. So we will see what will be later on. We already have house in hospitals. So we said that Uranus is in Taurus, and that also in the summer of the year 2022, it will meet with North Node, with Rahu, and even shortly with them together, there is going to be Mars. So shall we expect very explosive energies in the summer of the year 2022? Yes. And is there going to be a war? I don't think so. Maybe some explosions, maybe some things will happen, maybe fights on the street constantly, but some big war and things like that, I don't think so. It is not that I just hope. I have explanation. I will say that later. We are already in a war, so what can we say? Maybe some conflicts can be more, but we said we are moving from Scorpio towards Taurus, and it means that we are living these dangerous energies of Scorpio sign, even if they are somewhere they are presented. This direction of lunar nodes also means division, and division of the world will happen in the year 2020, most probably, maybe beginning of 2023. Why? Because Taurus distances himself from others and knows what belongs to him, while Scorpio lives through other people's resources. And on this axis, the division is very possible. Also supported by Saturn that is in Aquarius. And I mentioned in some of my videos, especially I think in video Saturn in Aquarius, that when Saturn is going to be retrograde in Aquarius in 2021 and 22, there are going to be some talks about the division in the world. And when Saturn was retrograde in June of the year 2021, a president of Russia and America met and they spoke about this. They will have to meet again, or something will happen again in the year 2022. And such divisions were happening in the year 1992 already, especially in Slavic countries. And now is going to one more division is coming, different from that one 30 years before, but also because of the Rahu in Taurus. I also talked in my video for August 2021 called Sturm und Drang, or something like that, Storm, and something about retrograde Uranus in Taurus, and we had the same transit, retrograde Uranus in the same degrees, in the years 1938 and 39, which was at the beginning of the World War II. So now things are repeating for us in a way. You may heard perhaps Vladimir Putin, Russian president, explained what happened in those years. He was explaining those years before the war. And he said how Poland grabbed Czechoslovak territory together with Germans, and then Germans attacked Poland. And how Czechoslovakia trusted France and Western partners, and they betrayed Czechoslovakia. And how later everything was actually done in order to conquer Russia. And these years are simply returning. We are going to see, and we already see similar scenario, a little bit different form. That's why it was necessary that the president of Russia speaks and explains who attacked who. He had to say that Germans attacked Russia, that it was not the opposite. So you see what is happening today. Over 20 million of Russians died in the World War II, defending their country and the world from fascism. And now the sponsors of fascism are accusing Russia that Russia attacked them. And it's not funny, but I'm laughing. I don't know what to say. So, yes, again, I can only say that we live in a perverted world, and in perverted world, such things are, of course, possible. But those parallels are very, very relevant in our time. So 38, 39, those years are repeating now. I don't think that is going to happen a big war. Although really there are many similarities with planetary positions with this our time, especially the year 21, 22, eventually 23, and year 1938 and 1939. So what is different here? Yes, first of all, Uranus is on the same degrees in Taurus, and nodes are on the same axis, but nodes are in opposite direction. So Rahu and Ketu are now placed in reverse in regard to the position before the Second World War. Namely, before the beginning of the Second World War, Rahu was in Scorpio, and it symbolizes their hunger for gaining power and for conquering the world in that case. But now we are leaving Scorpio, as we said, and we are moving towards stable Taurus. Further, in the year 1938, 1939, Pluto, the ruler of Rahu at that time, entered the sign of Leo. It was just at the beginning of Leo. And that meant obsessive conquest of the world. Leo is the sign of king. So the leaders or the sponsors of the World War II thought that they can create this world as the kingdom of themselves, you know. Now, however, the ruler of Ketu is Pluto. It is in Capricorn, in the last degrees, and along with other transits, it signifies above all the collapse and the fall of the old ruling structures, you know. Even, of course, that they don't know that. They're not aware of it. So what to say about America now having Pluto in the last degrees of Capricorn in its native chart? You know, we will talk about America in some other video, but yes, this is about fall or transformation of America, and that's why of old ruling structures. Let us also remind ourselves that Neptune is in Pisces, and it is very important that Neptune in strong position is always very important for Russia. So, first of all, when Russia is strong, the world war cannot be complete and the complete destruction of world cannot happen. Also, because of this Neptune in Pisces, this war is being fought in a secret way, you know. This is a war of secret services and secret actions on satellites and everything. It will be not visible for us. And that is why everything is so strange, actually, because many people live just normal life. They don't feel anything, even that disease does not affect them, nothing, they just live normally. But at the same time, we are experiencing the biggest operations that ever happen in the world, both in the battlefield, which is now on satellites and somewhere else, in the field of medicine, on the spiritual realm, and so on, you know, because it is hidden from us. This is the Neptunian energy. Further, I would like to add here, European Union is symbolized with the sign of Scorpio, and it can happen some sort of disintegration or the abandonment of current form of existence and functioning of European Union. Also, it can mean some sort of bankruptcy or real total bankruptcy. When we look at the horoscope of European Union, it looks like the horoscope of banking institution, you know. So it is very, very testing time for European Europe. It can, of course, regenerate, but first has to die in order to regenerate. So we'll see. If you want to understand now what I'm going to say further, please watch my video for November 2021. I mentioned there that the eclipse that is happening on Taurus Scorpio axis in November of the year 2021 is happening at the 27th degree of Taurus. So means it is going to be in conjunction with the star Algol, which is known as the evil star. It is the head of Gorgon Medúza. And I said there that we expect Uranus to make the conjunction with the same star in the year 2024. And that now, from November 2021, we are kind of preparing for that what is going to happen in 2024. And this can be a very big thing. And now here I want to continue the story of the Gorgon Medúza. And let me also suggest to you not just to read that myth, it has different versions, but also to watch the cartoon with the name Kirikou. This cartoon talks about the reasons for emerging of the evil and about the transformation of evil. So the Gorgon Medúza, this myth actually about Medúza, has some, in a way, similar story. The story is in a way similar with this of the witch Karaba, which is appearing through the story in the movie Kirikou. Gorgona Medúza and this witch Karaba both petrifies people, and the reason why they're doing this evil thing is that they were injured. They are both female, and they are injured female beings. They became evil because of the pain inflicted on them. When you read those stories, you will see what happened, how they were abused. So in mythology, Gorgona is killed in order to be transformed, while in the story of Kirikou, the boy Kirikou, with his love and his courage, transforms this evil witch. And that's how he stops the magic of evil. At the end of this film, Kirikou, as in every story and every fairy tale, saves this witch Karaba. He transforms himself as he transforms her. She does not feel pain anymore. The whole village is liberated, and she becomes his wife even, you know. And this is very important thing in fairy tales. There is this that we call coincidentia oppositorum. This is this connection of male and female principles that gives the whole. So in the coming years, we will have the opportunity to see this transformation of evil, for sure, in a way. And now it's only the question who will be the Kirikou in this historical moment of ours. And I think that we live in the time when there are no some heroes, separate heroes. I think that Kirikou, we have to be all, we as a people. You know, they're not going to be individual heroes. We as a people have to do, all of us, that's what Kirikou did. If that wounded being that is mentioned in those stories is the planet that we live in, maybe, is that maybe that female principle in us that is wounded? Maybe, yes. Is that what is wounded terribly here and needs to go through this process of healing and transformation? Is that maybe biological principle in us or biological life on Earth? I'm not sure. We can talk about a lot about that. Probably all of this can symbolize that's what I'm talking about, but it doesn't matter. We will see. Anyway, there is going to be liberation and transformation of evil, and that's what Ketu in Sagittarius is talking about. Feel free to continue interpreting those stories. This will be very actual in the years to come. So by October 2023, great challenges await us, and it is up to us to fight for ourselves and for our future through the Taurus sign, the archetype of true values, and to fight for the human ethic. And Ketu's positive and very important role, why is it Scorpio, is to reveal secrets and search for the essence of the problem. And that's what we are going to learn about. It is ideal time for that. Many will relate to their personal horoscopes by listening to this video. I did not speak about personal horoscopes as you hear, but those who have planets in Scorpio, they will need to give up of something in order to grow, and which can be very pleasant. Really, this does not have to be unpleasant. Don't worry about that. While Taurus people has some maybe simpler path in a way, but still they have this test with Uranus. It can be very challenging time for you, especially summer in the year 2022. Some of us will feel that through the air of home, some through through partnership, through money, through creativity, and so on. Each of us in different sphere of life. I said if you want to learn more about that, you can order personal consultations based on this topic. This position of lunar node is very intense, but in Jyotish it is considered very good, because Scorpio is the sign of transformation, and Scorpio symbolizes this evolution actually also, not just transformation. And its symbols are Scorpio, snake, eagle, and phoenix. So let's see. It reminds us to see in those next years to come whether this deeply transformative Ketu in Sagittarius will lead us to see this transition, to see this transformation from Scorpio to Phoenix. And that is all for now. Whatever I mentioned here, all of these videos that I recommended, you will find under this video on YouTube. Feel free to schedule personal consultations with me or check what I offer through my webpage symbolicthinking.net. If you like this video, please like it, share it, subscribe to my channel. Thank you very, very much for that, as always. And until next time, I wish you to allow the transformation to happen.